What is going on, everybody? It's your favorite everything, J.R. Wisdom, once again coming at you with another morning show with my great co-host QT Dub this morning. Sorry, I got sidetracked for a little bit there. I was making sure everything was straight on the actual YouTube side of things.
Nice.
Because I wanted to pin this is a live call-in show, as y'all may know. So I'm getting that on there real quick, that link, because I forgot to put it on there. But anyway, QT,
what up, Roach?
Yeah, how you doing? What's up? What's happening, Roach? How you doing this morning, brother?
Not too shabby, man. Not too shabby. Trying to get crucking, crack-a-lacking for this Monday. You know how it is, man. Trying to shake the weekend cobwebs off, but ready to get at it, man. It's a lot to dig into, as you know. It was a busy weekend. Shout out to the fathers. You know what I mean? Had our day yesterday. Had a pretty good one. Won't even complain at all. How about yourself, sir?
Oh man, it was great, man. Very eventful, bro. Very eventful. This past weekend, I made a post. I wanted to run it by you real quick. People take the internet so seriously, and my job is to get engagement and to piss people off. Also,
Engage, baby.
Yeah, engagement while trying to teach and piss you off at the same time. The He-Man woman haters is one side of it. And ladies who whatever. So that side of things. So I made a post on Facebook.
Okay.
And the post said, "Happy Father's Day to the single mothers and stepdads." Right? So can you believe how many dudes were highly upset in the comments by that? and it's comedy, but go ahead.
What I wanted to know is to what degree or what angle were they upset about it?
So I'll read you some of the comments.
Okay.
Right, and maybe I can, if this thing acts right, because my Facebook be tripping sometime. I'll actually pull up the post so you guys can see it here on Facebook right now, because it's when you try to pull up my Facebook here sometimes, like there's like a glitch sometimes. So let me refresh the page. But yeah, while I'm doing that, you're just like, how dare you do that? There's no such thing as this. There's no such thing as women that can be fathers. All this stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's funny that they think like that, man. To that. Yeah, something, I don't know why this shit. It used to freeze thing. This is crazy how it just doesn't pull up. It's just like it's a glitch or something. Let me pull it up, open in another page, see if it'll come up.
That's what I was morning, Casey Reynolds. Shout out to you from Indianapolis in the building.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they were upset about the shout out validating the single moms doing the entire role thing, and it looks like that was the angle that they were upset about. Am I not correct? Am I not hitting the nail on the head?
That was most of them. You know what I mean? That was mostly they were upset about not being acknowledged, which in my opinion, and we see a lot of this, I think there's a select few of men, especially within this space, that crave attention from other men. And I have a term for men that crave attention from other men. I think Kevin Gates coined it best. Those are hoes. You know what I'm saying? Hoes crave attention from men. So I always found that strange when a man wants to get attention from another man. And I see that in other aspects, not just on that post.
Yeah.
But you're looking, or you saying something negative to a dude, hoping that he'll respond to you. You know what I mean? Or, being a troll or whatever have you. But most of the comments were just basically like that. How dare you? This is wrong. Why would you do something like that? Why would you say this? Women aren't fathers. You need to acknowledge us. Some dudes like, you need to acknowledge us. And some people were in the comments like, well, you must not follow this guy's page a lot because he says a lot of shit like this. But for you to get pissed off and take the seconds to type.
Well, okay. And but see, and this is the thing is you gave the caveat though before you even went into the story. And the caveat was He-Man woman haters.
Okay.
That once you said that category, you already knew what we were dealing with, the extreme. Right? Not the logical, middle of the road, aware RP manosphere person. We talking the far end of the extreme of the party, if you will, the
Right.
He-Man woman haters part. And they got so triggered by the words they couldn't even see the sarcasm. And that's why it was interesting that you had some commenters that knew, that were like, yo, if you've seen any of this dude's content, you know this is what he does. You know he knows the importance of fathers, etc., etc., etc. That this literally is almost a S talking post, but you can't get to that part because you so into must be 5'2", 135 pounds, but just spitting out all of the hardcore RP of talking points. You couldn't get to it. I was curious though if there were any comments about the stepdad aspect to it.
No, there weren't hardly.
Nobody messed with that.
They didn't touch on that. They didn't touch on that at all. The fact that I said the stepdad, you didn't. And you know how Meta, they'll create the AI of what people's thoughts are. And it just pisses me off that it won't show like the page. If I could pull it up and show you, I'm gonna do that just so people can kind of see what I'm talking about. Whenever I used to do this on my phone, and it's like strange things happen. Let's see, presents, share screen, Facebook.
I ain't gonna lie, I can never do anything on Meta or Facebook on purpose that I'm trying to do. I have to click around on that mess so much. So
you see right here, it's just like it'll just stay like that. It used to do that on my phone, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Where it won't actually ever load.
Right. And it's crazy it'll do that. So but yeah, I just figured I'd share that, because I just think it's funny. And I do a lot of posts like that guys triggered off of. That's why I'm like, are these guys even real? Are they bots? Like,
no, they real.
Yeah. It's like, how can a dude, get this upset? You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it's all in good fun for them.
Yeah, but again, you know why they get that upset. Anything that's not rigid to the RP commandments, you're gonna get some.
Right.
I'm surprised. No, I'm not even gonna say surprised. I bet you the SIMP was in the comment section for you in there.
Did I see one? I think I did.
Yeah.
I wrote this post.
Yep.
Because I make posts sometimes and I'll put something like, a real man would do this or whatever like that, and they'd be like, it'll be like a simp post, like a real man. Will ask
her and the kids out.
Will ask for permission before he shoots the club up or whatever.
Anything.
Like or a real man will something like that. We'll take all the kids out or whatever. And like when Remy Ma posted a thing in her bikini, I made something like basically like she wrote it. I was just like, a real man will accept the woman's choice and know that she should be able to sacrifice her family for her happiness. And dudes was mad as hell up in there about that.
Hey man, that's against the commandments.
Yeah. But I just can't see myself being upset about, something that a dude is saying. Like I don't know. I just look at things differently. But I think it's funny just to see the amount of guys that are triggered and the amount of guys who actually say, I'm gonna unfollow at that point. You know what I mean? It's quite hilarious. But yeah, man, we're gonna get off that. Moving on. So shout out to the pappies overall. Shout out to the fathers out there.
Seriously, putting in that work, that everything.
And we had a few events other than that. Father's Day weekend also was our great president Donald Trump. It was his
B-Day celebration.
Yeah, his celebration.
And shout out to we had the Army birthday as well. Whoa.
Shout out to the Army 250th anniversary for sure.
250.
All my fellow vets such as yourself and the Army vets, excuse me.
Yep.
For sure. But yeah, getting into this, because a lot of people were posting about how barren or how lack of people were at this parade celebration whatnot. Do you find that to be a big deal? Just like they were saying at his inauguration, the first time around. Do you think it a big deal?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times something may not be a big deal to you, but the person that's the subject of it thinks it's a big deal. So therefore it becomes a big deal to you. So the reason I answered that question that way is because a lot of people really don't care how many people show up to Trump rallies, to his inauguration, to his birthday celebration. But guess who does care how many people are at those things?
Who that?
Donald J. Trump. And so, because I'm not saying that I'm not saying something I would not think that most of us cannot agree upon. He's a numbers man, right? He's always talking about the numbers, what numbers are. So crowd sizes are important to him. So that's the reason why it's important. It's the reason it's important that, like some of the figures say, that 75 or 76 million dollars was spent on this birthday extravaganza, and it looks like nobody really cared to go to it. That is the reason it's a big deal, because that's a blow to one's ego, no matter how you want to try to spit it, because this whole celebration was about one's ego. You know how many presidents have had birthdays while in office?
Right.
How many of them had military parades tearing up the fucking street with tanks?
Yeah.
To look like Kim Jong.
Oh man.
I'm just saying, how many have done that? And see, the thing is, if you're going to do that and want to have the same appearance that Kim Jong does, then make it a requirement that we come to it.
That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because see, they don't get to stay at home if they don't feel like it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, then you got to do it all the way if you want the effect. But that's the reason why the numbers are, to most of us, know it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal to him.
Yeah.
So since it's a big deal to him, then we're going to all pay attention to it. Yep, nobody was there. And we spent a bunch of money on it.
How much we spent?
It's at 76 or 77, 75 to 76 million. Let's look it up right quick.
Yeah, I know you were saying that offline. I'm like, come on, bro. That's insane.
All right, let's see.
While he's looking that up, go ahead in the chat, because I see the chat. It's only been like 2 or 3 people in here talking. Go ahead and drop your age, sex, location, gender. I'd like to hear where you guys are fellowshipping from today, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram today, whether you're on Twitch. Go ahead and drop that below. Like to hear from you. Also, this is a live call-in show, so feel free to hit that link if you want to share your thoughts on any of the topics that we are discussing today. For sure, like to hear from you. So continue, brother.
Continue. All right. I'm seeing 45.
45 million.
45 million. This article I have now, it says Republicans flee questions about cost of Trump's $45 million tank parade. Where I'm sure Doge approved it though. You know what I'm saying? Government efficiency and whatnot. But again, the numbers, right? We're trying to make sure that we curb inflation and keep deficits down and things like that. And we, 45 million. And that's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about the overall budget of the government, correct? Right? But then we got programs like Medicaid and stuff that we're slashing funds like that from, in order to quote unquote have this balanced government after we cut, continue the tax cuts for the upper 1%.
Right.
While we're throwing $40 million parades that nobody's showing up to. It'd be one thing if it was the 4th of July and it was celebration of the nation and everybody wanted to be there and it was but that's not what it was. It was a one-man birthday celebration. Look at me. Nobody came to look. We wasted money.
Yo, speaking of that, man, just to switch it up a little bit, since we talking about budgets and deficits, right? Because I don't think we covered this on this channel, or on any of our shows. About let me make sure I got this thing up here. About the subsidies that were being given out, the Section 8, the SNAP benefits and things like that. What's deep cuts, as they say. I guess, of these vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that? As far as the budget, because I'm trying to look up what's the budget for that. While
You talking about as far as some of the programs, and while I get to answering your question, I would and shout out to Trey. You know what I'm saying? A regular.
Right.
If you don't mind, would you elaborate as to why you asked if I dislike the rich and wealthy? And so as far as the cuts are concerned, a lot of programs, if we're getting, if we're going to get specific to like some of the welfare sort of to speak programs, the SNAPs, the EBT, Section 8, stuff like that. Even before this became a thing with deep cuts to them, I've always had a belief that they needed to be reformed.
Right.
I felt that they needed to be attached to things, in particular, kids' performance to a degree.
I think I remember you saying that.
Yes, so that's a whole nother subject. But so I don't have a problem with strategic reforms to programs like that. But things like Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, that's a totally different bucket. And the reason is because we pay into these programs. From the time you get your first job, you see med and you see SSI deductions on your paycheck. These aren't entitlements. Nobody is giving this to you.
Yes.
So deep cuts like that, and you're making them, and this is where I'm going to go with this trainer, because I think this is why you asked me if I dislike the rich, and the answer is no, I don't dislike them. What I dislike is them not paying their fair share into the pot that you and I have to pay, our 24 to 28% of our income. I don't like the fact that under the current tax profile, these upper tier corporations get a quote unquote flat tax of 20%, and then they didn't close any of the loopholes that they were when it was at 28%. So then they get an effective tax rate in the teens on millions and millions of dollars. And then guess what they do? They actually use more of the infrastructure that these tax dollars pay for. I've never ridden a train. I don't have a semi-tractor trailer that goes up and down interstate highways delivering goods from one section to another. Who uses that infrastructure like that the most? These corporations that don't even pay into it like you and I do. That's what I have a problem with. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't have a problem with the rich and wealthy. I have a problem with them not doing what you and I have to do.
Right.
So what were you about to bring up though with the deep
cuts? But what I was about to bring, I know that's a different pot, Social Security, things like that you're paying into, as opposed to the welfare type situation, the HUD, the Section 8, the SNAP benefits, all those things like that are called benefits, right? Your benefits as opposed to entitlements, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I'm like focusing on in terms of that. So everybody kind of raised hell once this proposal this was put in place. This article is actually from April, I guess, when everybody was kind of like raising hell about it or whatever. For the 2026 fiscal year, which is this October coming up here. So right here, potential consequences. Currently about 2.3 million low-income households rely on federal vouchers administered through local housing authorities to help pay rent. While the program is part of a $54 billion rental assistance framework, demand consistently exceeds funding, leaving long wait lists as rents continue to rise nationwide. So, I was just having this conversation this weekend, right? And I think as well as I do, you have people, as far as this overhaul and reforming this whole process, but you have people who stay on this for lifetimes, right? And I've had these conversations. I'm not saying everybody, but you do have families who almost, I don't even want to say sublet, but they pass it down to the next family. government cash assistance wherever you're at, and it kind of almost like, I always say, a free lunch or a free meal, people don't like really value things that are given free. And what I'm saying, even though it's subsidized, not everybody's giving it free. Some of them people have $100 rents, $200 rents, $50 rents, depending on what you earn. But still, and even some of those are failing to pay that amount. Same thing with utilities. And I think, other countries, obviously do it better than us. Like we have, you have Sweden, Denmark, Germany. A lot of European countries tend to pull it off pretty good in terms of these, as what some would deem socialist programs.
Or social services.
Yeah, social services programs to help out the citizens aspect. And the conversations even came up about, whatever your legal status, if you're here as a migrant, or if you're just getting here on a green card, whatever the qualifications for that state, even though it's, federal funding, but, trickles down to state funding for these programs, that it's one of those almost like incentives, like I made it here from a different location, so I'm able to take advantage of it. And there's so many people that are using it. Why would it, what's the incentive to actually really get out there and bust your ass and work, as opposed to staying on here with a, $250, whatever your rent is, and getting, cash assistance and food assistance, you know what I mean?
And just the comments you just brought up is like you highlighted almost a two-pronged, problem just in that statement. Cause you like, how actually reforms happen. And that's why I keep using the word reform and for me, because I feel like reforms have to be in place at this point to make these programs not a long-term thing. They were never intended to be long-term legacy types of services. They were supposed to be stopgaps for, families experiencing hardship for a period of time, help them get back on their feet, and then, continue to go forth. So the longevity of some people being on these programs, like you said, is a problem in itself. But then you highlighted another one, which is the capacity for the program, which is tied to, like I don't know if you were directly saying that, but it is tied to immigration. So like you're saying, if you have an influx of people that you didn't account for, for funding said programs, coupled with people staying on them longer than they're intended to, and then like in that article throws in the third problem, which is how the rents are going up in general, to where more people are now, like even kind of middle of the world working people are needing assistance now. And that's a whole nother topic, because you're getting a lot of private equity firms buying up entire neighborhoods, then it's straight rent control on a different level, not for the renter, but for the rentees. They like, we're going to control what the rent is. And so you throw all that stuff together and you got an underfunded hodgepodge of a mess, which is what you basically read right there. But I think if people sat down and divided that into sections of a problem and address them individually, then there could be some kind of I think a beneficial result out of it. Like, because again, if you're going to have benefits like that, then I would say that you would have to be fully done with whatever the program of citizenship is. It couldn't be that, you just got here and now, fully, full services of anyone that was born and has been here, paid, blah, 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 would be getting. On the flip side, with like your standard SNAP, EBT, Section 8 stuff, those benefits that are geared towards individuals with children, I told you this before. I feel that those benefits should be tied to children going from grade to grade. Because here's my thing. You can't take taxpayers' dollars, subsidize people's lives, and then not get a return on it. the return has to be getting you off the program.
Yep.
And the way to help ensure doing that is your kids at least get out of high school. If they're, functioning, we're not talking about special needs. Most people are not special needs.
Mm-hmm.
But in most of these situations with Section 8 and all of that stuff, a lot of these households have high dropout rates.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we paying for that? And then that dropout rate makes this thing continue, especially if we're talking females, and then they have kids, and then now they're on the same programs.
Right. And it seems like a lot of the stuff, with the reformation, if you will, is, I guess, a lack of checks and balances when it comes to monitoring these things, as you said, or just, I know that's not in place, but it's just like there's no checks and balances. It's a lot of things that's unaccounted for. There's a pot that's dedicated to this, and it seems like with this country being our funding being fiat currency, you can just print more money or just type in some more numbers.
And again, like we discussed on the show, which isn't the case, it's like, well, we're going to go borrow it, most likely in China.
Yeah. I think it can be done, bro. I just feel like, there's too many intelligent minds. I think Lauryn Hill, even though, and I hate to bring Lauryn Hill up, but she said this on her interview. We have far too many intelligent minds, not just here in the States, but outside, that you can say, okay, how are you guys doing this? How are you guys able to do this so well and have a great economy like Germany? And I'm mentioning Germany because I used to live there.
Yeah.
And they do it so well. You know what I mean? And their economy is still booming. They're still doing great. And, it seemed to be, most of the citizens are productive. And it's not like something that is just like a crutch that you can stay on forever. So I just feel like, man, it's just like kids in your house, man, and I hate to say it because me and you have these conversations about kids or whatever. And it's like when you give them a good life, so to speak, and it's also about parenting, but when you give them a good life, it's almost as if, or everything's provided for a person or everything's done for a person. What incentive is there to move out my damn house?
Yeah, it can be a double edge. Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm doing this for you. I'm providing this, but what incentive do you have? And you think as a human being, and this is me just speaking from personal experience and anecdotal, for lack of a better term, that you would think as a human being, there's something inside that's like, okay, or there could be something inside has a defeatist attitude, or it's too late for me. As long as I have this done for me, why? So it's what they call it. This is a long topic that could go on, but I think is all the great minds we have is something that there could be something coming up. And I know with this whole administration putting this out there that, hey, we about to have these cuts, but hey, we don't have enough housing, as you hinted at. And then these, as you said, private equity firms buying up, and as they call gentrification and rent increasing and stuff like that. There's a lack of. So if, in your opinion, I'm going to ask you this not in a perfect world, but what would you see? How would you see it? What would happen? If let's just say this, you got 2 years max.
Okay.
For any of these.
All right.
What would you think what would you foresee happening if we got like, hey, 2 years max, this is what's going to happen. Only certain special circumstances, which has to be proven, obviously, because they get all in your business. But 2 years max, that's what you got with this. What would you be in the blowback or whatever, if any?
You're talking about these services like
these services right here. I'm not talking about Social Security or anything like that.
Yeah. You got 2 years. Oh yeah. I mean, dog, come on. You getting utter blowback on that. I'm not saying I don't disagree with it, but I'm saying you're gonna get utter blowback on it.
But as far as the country, right? Which we can get to the statistics of how many people are on there. As it said, what was it, 2.3? Let me pull it back up. Let me go down. 2.3 million low-income households rely on federal vouchers, which I'm including housing authorities to help pay rent. So I'm assuming that is not including SNAP or whatever, but it says
yes. So I guess it's just like Section 8 type stuff.
So let's just throw another 2.3 million on top of that
for the include SNAP and et
right,
cetera, et cetera.
4.6 million people. You got 2 years to get your shit together, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think after that would be the fallout? Like, as far as how would that affect the socio-political landscape and the economy and whatever have you, if the government was to incorporate something like that? Or you being a such a independent thinker and male and political scholar?
Yeah, a scholar,
political scientist.
Yeah, I could see a couple of things happening. I can see all right, if it's 2 years, right?
2 years.
You got a 2 year window. Do we have does the program have a certain number of people that's allowed to be on it at one time? That's my question. Because what's going to happen is then what prevents people from just renewing every 2 years?
Yeah, again, if let's just say this fiscal year, this law passed.
And I'll add the caveat. Maybe it's a 2 year thing and it's one time only.
One time only. You would, if in order to renew this, it would have to be, like in Germany. Obviously, if a woman gets pregnant again, they have something called Kindergeld, which you probably heard of. If she gets pregnant again, which I guess you can say something that's a workaround, but having more kids, that's whole nother thing of worms or whatever. I guess that's the only other issue right there. Which if you steady getting your ass knocked up, I guess you would have to have a limit on that too, right? Or you would have to pay for it. Or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, we got all these different caveats and different things to it. But let's just say 2 years, right? For the standard situation. You got 2 years to get your shit together.
Okay. The thing is I see part of the blowback. The argument is going to be against that is that 2 years isn't going to be long enough.
Right. And
they're going to pull up stuff like the current unemployment rates and what somebody that's not even on any assistance, how long they're taking to find employment. And then couple that with whatever type skills that these households tend to have /i.e. Educational level. So let's say that half of these 4 million people didn't even finish high school. Then it's going to be, what's the likelihood of them gaining, obtaining gainful employment in 2 years where they can be off the system. And then you're going to have the caveat of then once you put all of these people out, once they're off the system and in those places evict them, et cetera, what are they going to do after that as far as crime wise?
There we go.
And so then we're going to lock them all up. And then these going to be private prisons where it doesn't cost us any money? So I don't know. I don't know if a 2 year window type situation, if how much that's going to fly.
Right.
But on the flip side, it's more than the administration giving them right now, because right now they're like, we cutting this joints to whatever it is, and after that, you asked out anyway. Right. Good morning, Con Honey.
I mean, but the current administration, it's not like, so they cutting it, which I haven't got into the weeds of it in terms of the what this stipulates. As far as that, we've seen the consequences, but you say when they cutting it all together.
No. I didn't mean cutting it all together. I'm saying they slashing how much is in the pot for it.
How much is in the pot for it?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because the thing is, like you were reading in that article, it's already quote unquote underfunded due to how many people are on it, which is why the waiting list and stuff are long. So of course, when they cut that, it's going to exasperate all of that stuff.
Right. And that combined with, as you said, and I know that goes into the budget as far as the amount of housing that's available, that Section 8 approved or whatever, and what goes into the budget as well. So yeah, man, I just feel like, bro, and I keep saying feel, but I just feel like this is something that can be done. And I think you're gonna have blowback in terms of what occurs in the economy, whether that be crime, whether that be all these other things. But I think, and I know that's what I know when you're on these things, when you're on these programs, they are actively helping you get jobs too. Even though I'm not saying that that's going to help you pay all your bills, but they're actively helping you, or you're supposed to be, because I know you're
supposed to be. See that, and that's another thing. Like you were saying, sometimes not having enough oversight with these programs, with these quote unquote magic pots of money.
Exactly, the oversight and
because it's like, and let's not even overlook the hustle factor. Come on, man, you in the community, you know what I'm talking about.
You know where you're going. I had clients doing it.
You know what I'm talking about, with the folks that kind of technically don't need this stuff, but they found a way to still qualify for it, and they are gainfully employed.
Owning restaurants,
doing all kinds of stuff. So like how much of that's in the mix too that can be cut out?
Did you watch that Brett Favre?
I didn't watch it. I just have a surface knowledge of it.
Yeah, that was a wild boy right there. When you get a chance, watch it, bro.
Yeah,
that's just one part of it, a bigger part.
And that's on a big scale. But yeah, and a lot of people do it on a smaller scale multiple times, but that's a big example of it. Yeah.
Right. But restaurant owners, I know of several restaurant owners doing that, getting it, getting these benefits, man. So it's like you said, the lack of oversight on it, and you're going off of what somebody puts down or what somebody's able to do, and you have people who have had these places for generations and either own a house and they're subletting that to someone who's paying them rent. I know this happens in New York, bigger cities for sure.
Yeah,
I've known of people in New York that have Section 8 spots, and they sublet it to other people. Collect the rent. You know what I mean? For some shit they getting for free.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So for sure, man. I don't know, man. I think this country is so great that that this stuff happens. And people. Talk. It's different. I have you have your outlook on, which we're gonna get into these protests.
And while you're getting into that, and if you can't tell, this is the type of stuff that I lean right on. This is the type of stuff that now the leftist people hit the unsubscribe button on my channel. That's why I have a horrible YouTube channel, because I'm gonna make both of you mad just on any given day.
You gotta choose a side.
You gotta
side. You gotta choose one. You're two in the middle.
Exactly. You lukewarm. We should spew you out.
Yeah. You one day you're talking about, you're for us, and the next day you're not. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, how can you be a man? I was just having this conversation right before this. The kindergarten, bro. You got to choose this side. We're the He-Man woman haters over here.
Yeah.
You can't be with those hoes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get it, bro. You gonna run into that, man. But
shout out to JK Perk this morning, man.
Yeah. Shout out to JK Perkins. I appreciate you guys are exploring actual solutions to the problems to bring about positive change instead of just bashing people for clicks. Yeah, we just.
Shout out Perk, and shout out to Trey, man. You check out his. I'm gonna read you Trey comment from a case he worked. He said, "I worked a fraud case once when a guy was on assistance and was subletting to a woman with kids while he had $1 million home."
That's pretty common.
And a range.
That's common as hell, man.
Just like I'm saying, just like you were saying, and if I'm not mistaken, Trey's former police officer, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. But yeah, so he worked a case like that.
Right. Yeah, that's super common, bro. That is super common.
And so my thing is, that's another thing that's a big strain on the quote unquote bucket. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is there are some needy people that really need it that are sitting on a waiting list while $1 Million Man is chilling.
Yeah.
On our buck.
Right.
Good morning, Ashley.
Yeah, man. It's I still think we have a great way of doing things, because if you travel a lot, which I know you've traveled, probably seen stuff, and I know recently you've been to Costa Rica, you probably come across whatever issues they have there. You know what I mean? Whenever there's a mass of bun selling, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's why you went there, but I know that there's any country you go to, and that's how you can kind of tell how the economy is doing. If there's a massive amount of women or part of the economy is selling buns, then there's some issues with government assistance and things like that. If you
that makes sense.
Buns, you know, because a lot of you take DR for example.
Yeah.
DR, Jamaica, you know, Nigeria, some of these places don't have child support, and the government's not about to give you no assistance either because they're too broke. You know what I'm saying? To do that, you know what I mean? So the women resort to selling buns. This is just a quick way to make money. They can make the amount of money they make in a week, and
like a good night.
Hours, you know, a few hours. You know what I mean? So it's just, I'm not saying it's common sense, but yeah, you know, why not sell some buns in their case, you know, instead of working a month, you know what I mean? So we have it like, we have these things, which is another reason.
I'm sorry, but
what?
That's another part of the come up.
What's that?
You got some getting the assistance and they selling buns.
Yeah, selling buns and getting assistance, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
You're like dancing, everything.
This is true though. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
And those the ones that's got a Benz.
Yeah, you're right. Selling buns and
paid for.
Yeah. You'd be shocked, man, at the amount of, and I know you encounter a lot of people, but just a lot of the baddies, you know, that get assistance and
facts track
got bad credit.
Come on, bro.
You don't got to have credit to get a Section 8. So
what's the best way to be bad at money is getting it fast.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. No value or
come in fast. You don't care about letting it go out.
Don't last.
Yep.
Yeah. Or again, once again, I always say, you know, people don't respect free or value free
or easy easy
or free.
Easy. You can have something that's not worth that much, but if it took you a lot of time and work to get it, you like, nah, man, you can't have that. No, I'm not throwing it out. No, none of that, because it has the work you put into it attached to it. So you like, nah, bro. Yeah. Morning, Eminem. How you doing, man?
Yeah, money. There we go, man. But yeah, so we were pivoting into this these protests. You know, obviously we still got some stuff going on. Taking place throughout the country, not just Los Angeles. I sent you that. I think it was AI generated.
What was?
About the Mexicans protesting.
Oh yeah, you sent me that. I saw so much stuff. I could. Yeah.
And I you know, because I was gonna I was gonna show it, and it may look like, you know, I'm veering a certain way by playing it. But before you know, I'm gonna just get your thoughts. What was your thoughts on it upon seeing that? You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes this country great.
Yeah,
for allowing such a thing. But and me, I do see hypocrisy in it. But I know you have your thoughts on it. What was your thoughts when you saw that?
I mean, the actual clip, just kind of like your happy Father's Day to the single moms and the stepdads. Like, I saw what the comedy was supposed to be in the clip. So it's like, you know, protesting Viva la Mexico and blah, blah, blah. But then, you want to stay here. It's like, it is a kind of a oxymoronic, you know, comedic aspect to it. So it's funny. So I got it. I mean, I got it. I mean, I didn't see anything disparaging about it that should have made anybody, like, quote unquote, pissed off on it. But that was for me.
Yeah. I just think, what's that time travel word that you use when things, as you just said, you described it, but I'm thinking of the term that they use a lot in time travel movies. When there's a somebody knows what I'm talking about. It's when something, like when you go back in time, like when Marty went back in time, right?
You mean like a butterfly effect?
Yeah, but there's a term for it. When two events shouldn't happen because of one event.
Oh, a paradox.
A paradox.
Okay.
Quite paradoxical. You know what I'm saying? Somebody he hit me with the continuum. There you go. Kind of
time space continuum. How did be in there? Is she in the building too? No, she hit with the paradox. Trey too.
I should have thought about it.
Boy. Y'all some nerds. Y'all some nerds.
Yeah, the flashpoint paradox. So yeah, it's quite paradoxical.
Oh my God. What up, Lyrical?
It's quite paradoxical to come in someone's country, as you said. And for yours, I'm gonna try to play the video for you guys to watch it here. But it's quite paradoxical to come in someone's country and say, Viva la Mexico,
Yeah.
all these things like that, yada yada yada,
Mm-hmm.
and let me
But I am gonna play devil's advocate on that once you finish with it though, because you know I have to.
yeah. So it's quite paradoxical to be in someone's country and say "Viva la Mexico," da, 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 da. And you got some who just like, I'm not about to say nothing. I'm glad to be in here. Like Michael Blackson say, just let me in this motorsucker.
Yeah, on this
you can call me. You can call me whatever you want to call me. Just let me in, motorsucker.
Yeah.
That's how some people are looking. But to do that, where they say, well, you know what? Just like when people move down south, right? I'm gonna cover a video on this. And you've met these people. I'm from the South. You're from the South. But you got New Yorkers move down south, and they just talk about how great New York is and how down south sucks.
It's about being here and how great it was back where I wear Timbos and goose down fucking coats every day.
Yeah.
No, dog, and I'm gonna tell you what, that is the best analogy you could have given me for that to sink in, because it's exactly like that.
Yeah, go back.
And my first sentiment is get the hell out of here, then.
Yeah,
son.
Go back, son. Like dead ass. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
I just
Oh, you like breathing room. Oh, I know.
Let me pull this up here. Where did I get this?
Philly, dog is. This is what makes it so bad. Atlanta doesn't have any ATLians in it. Everybody is from up north.
Right.
They're from New somewhere. New Jersey, New York, New Haven, everywhere but New here.
Right. Let me go back. There we go. New something. Yeah, new something. So, and like I said, I just posted a short yesterday too. Before I play this clip, and this woman's just talking. These women are just talking about one was from Detroit, the other one was from somewhere else. And she was just talking about how, and people talk about how Atlanta sucks. This, that, and I'm not even from Atlanta.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. If you're not from here, take your ass back.
Yeah.
Atlanta's not here. Atlanta's not for dating. It's just for making money. Okay, I get it. But if you're talking, take your ass back. That's how I feel. And growing up, I grew up on a dirt road in South Carolina in a small town. And people would come for the summer, as they always do from New York.
Yeah.
We got family in the South, and they would just say, oh, this is it. And they would move down here, and they would do, oh, this is this. Well, and even adults, oh, this is it, man. Take your ass back. You know what I'm saying? So, and I always said that, just like when people come here and they throw their flags up.
Yeah.
You throw your flags up. I'm a patriot, regardless of how people feel. Like they feel like if you're black or if you're a minority, you shouldn't be, patriotic and all this stuff like that. And you have all these people. Whenever I've said that on my channel, here come these guys in the comments, and who knows if they're from the States or not.
Yeah.
What's so great about the U.S.? What's so great about, and would give their left nut and their kids left nuts, right? Get over here. So, do you think there's a waiting list to get up? I mean, like, do you think people sneaking in here just because it sucks? I don't understand that.
Yes.
And you're protesting, so you throwing a flag. I just don't get it. How you can go a place and then throw up your home flag is beyond me. Maybe I could be looking at it wrong or being petty, but I'm just like, bro, but you wouldn't go back. I mean, you probably make your money eventually go back, but let me play this clip, bro, because I've been talking for too much, just to get show it to everybody so we can see here. Instagram, share screen. And
I just know they say McDonald's, and I start laughing.
Yeah, let me get it from the beginning here.
I love McDonald's.
Wait a minute, shouldn't we be waving the American flag if we want them to let us stay?
Down with America! Viva Mexico!
Okay, sir, we'll book your one-way flight to Mexico right now.
Wait, I was just kidding. I love McDonald's. I have Taco Bell receipts. God bless the USA.
It's about staying here. Would that be all right?
Are you serious? No! You broke in and you're literally destroying my home.
That's your analogy.
Viva Mexico! You're going back to Mexico? No. Please don't send me back there. Let's wave the flag of the country we don't want to live in the country we do want to live in. Viva Mexico! You're going back to Mexico. Please don't send me back there.
And this is not to make fun at like Mexicans, but it's just a fact of the matter. Because you know, every time some of these people have gotten deported, they've been deported 5-6 times. A lot of times, you know, you got some guys over time. You see on a lot of these shows, Jesus de Cristo was deported 6 or 7 times. So it's like, damn, like, bro, you know. But I'm not saying he's throwing up the flag, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like, hey, man, I just feel that way, bro. And I've always felt that way about anybody. You know, like I'm not going in somebody else's country and throwing up the U.S. flag. I mean, you got people in my neighborhood here, and they're probably in where you live at, or where you've lived at, where they have their flag up outside, but they also have the U.S. flag up too.
With it, yeah. See, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, the money train. I was reading Trey comment down there. It said he watched a video of a chick who said that they are just here to make money. They send the money home, and once they've made enough, they return to and you can call BS on that because it's like it's siphoning of one economy to another one.
Yeah. Well, that's what they typically, you know, I know you call BS on that, and I agree, but you know, if you're in any of these, if you go to any of these tiendas, they usually have a cash center there, or money or a place. Most Mexicans, you know, they set up shop, or not just Mexicans, but any little such and such, right?
Yeah.
Little China, little Haiti, whatever. They'll have these stores set up with cash, money transfer place, whatever you want to call it, and they'll send the money back. You know what I mean? And a lot of them will tell you straight up, I just came here just to, as you say, I don't want to say leech off the economy, but I forgot the term you used.
Siphon.
Siphon. Send the bread back, and once they made what they made, they dip on back. You know what I mean? And even if a lot of the stuff isn't, you know, it's tax free, which people be saying, well, they pay sales tax. You know what I'm saying? You know, they get into that. Well, they pay sales tax even if they're working under the table. So it's a different conversation. Then you have the argument too, which I saw a guy broke down about how the land was stolen. Right, from Wyoming to was it California, New Mexico, Arizona, I guess certain parts of Colorado. I think Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, was what it was getting into. But Buddy broke it down how this land was purchased. You know what I'm saying? You decided to sell it to these Americans for X amount. What I forgot, it was something low. It was like 42 million or something. I can't remember what it was. For that land, just like here in where I live at here in Charleston, right? We have a place called Seabrook Island and Kiowa Island. These areas were owned by Black folks, right? These islands, so to speak, this land, it was sold, I think, in like the 60s or the 50s for some small amount, like $100,000 or something.
Wow.
And now it's one of the biggest resorts in the world.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. What you call the golfing? What is it called?
What
tournament? What do you call the golfing tournament? What is it called? U.S. Open. Yeah, they had the U.S. Open. Not the U.S. Open. That's tennis, right? Sorry.
Yeah, that's tennis.
What's the golf? I can't think of it.
I know Masters is in Augusta. I don't know which one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think they had the Masters or whatever. I'm not a golfer, so I don't know. So they had that out there. So it's a multi-million, you know, people come from all over just to spend time there. But the bros sold it for like $100,000.
Pennies on the actual value. Okay, U.S. Open too. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So yeah, good.
Shout out to you, Trey, man. I'm like, man, I ain't dog. I'd be happy Gilmore on the damn golf course. Like mad as hell.
You know,
they're like, bro, but you just started. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened, bro. So it's the same thing. I don't want to liken it to that, but
if
I offer you something, it's no longer yours. If you accept and you sign the documentation, it's not to be mean, you know, but if you sell me your car, if you was to sell me your truck, brother, and I say, okay, here's the money, my brother. Okay, good being doing dealings with you. You have
and I ain't bothered to get the KBB on it.
Nothing
before I sold it to you.
Nothing.
You know what I mean? Not realizing that it might have been worth 2 or 3 times what you paid for it.
Right. But you know, a lot of
I can't. But I like the analogy though, because I underpaid for it, or because you underpaid for it. I can't then go back and be like, I'm finna go get in this truck.
Yeah, I need to go. I'm gonna go hop in it.
As is, Eminem.
You know, so I feel it's the same way. So when that argument is presented, I think it's disingenuous and it's uninformed. You know what I mean? As far as stealing the land. Now, if you want to get into the Native Americans and all that, you know, that's a different story, you know, because the outlook on things is a little different. That nobody owns, or this is everybody's land, so to speak, for lack of a better term. But I'm not getting into that. But that's just, I know when that argument comes up, it's something to be thought about. Your people sold this land, you know what I mean, for a price. Whether it be the Louisiana purchase or all these other,
whether it was a dumper, whether you got swindled or not, that's so
right. Right. And let's just point it out, because I used to date this woman from Burkina Faso one time, right?
Okay.
And I'm just flipping around on how some immigrants may look at things, right? A lot of times when immigrants come to the U.S. or any other country for that matter, they enjoy the freedoms and the opportunities that come with the country, right?
Okay.
But they also have criticism, like, which I can understand, of what this country does, or wish that it was kind of like their country in a way. But I think what a lot of people fail to realize is she didn't realize this when I was talking to it. People are critical. If you want the country to be like your country, it would cease to be the United States.
Correct.
To a certain extent, but they don't think of it like that. They're like, well, our country does this, we have culture, you know, we have all these different things like that. And if you want to set up to change it to be that, it would cease to be that. I.e., what if California was still Mexico now? You would still jump the border, you know, and come into Oregon or Washington or Colorado, or you still jump the border. You see what I'm saying?
You still you just got a little bit more square acre.
You
be coming over.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that I think there's not much thought going into it, but I think the real ones who come here and enjoy it, they're like, I'm just gonna keep it quiet. But I think California is a lot more tolerant than the East Coast when it comes to these things. I know, regardless of New York and Mayor, what's homie's name? Who was
where at?
Eric? What's the name in New York City? New York City Mayor.
Eric something.
I can't remember his name. Man.
Yeah.
But regardless of how lax it may have seemed, I know it's a Democratic ran city. But you can't do that same stuff in New York that you can do in LA in terms of protests. You know, you damn sure can't do it in Florida.
Oh yeah, boy told you he was gonna drag you. He gonna drag you down the street if you standing in front of the car. Cause you know,
homie said one of our nice dogs is gonna put the beaters on you.
You throw a rock at our car, we'll tell your next of kin where to find your remains.
Exactly. We're gonna mow your ass. You know they was whacking off to that one.
Dog, oh my God, I thought about your term. I was like, this is what he was talking about when he was saying they wet dream. They
was spanking it to that one.
I'm sorry, they're hydrated slumber. I don't want YouTube messing with us.
Yeah, they were spanking.
He was in hydrated slumber like a mofo when he was at that press conference.
Yeah, said this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what it's supposed to be like right here. You know, one of our nice dogs. We're gonna put the beaters on you.
We're gonna drag you down the street. Yeah. That's what we gonna do.
You didn't know I had a live stream? Yeah, a lot of people don't know. So yeah,
where is that one?
The last comment right there. This is
I
had a live show. I'm here for it. Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
What is happening, Major? Thank you for being here. And it's not your fault you didn't know.
Yeah,
it's YouTube's. Because YouTube don't tell nobody.
Yeah, shout out to YouTube though.
Shout out to TubeTube.
Yeah,
what's happening with you?
I appreciate you for letting the people know that you have let know. I appreciate YouTube. YouTube is the greatest platform on earth.
It really is. I'm being serious. I'm not. He's being serious.
Very serious.
All praises to the YT.
For sure. So yeah, man. But we had some stuff go on. Speaking of this, we had some stuff going on in Utah. You know,
speaking of Utah.
Yeah, and you sent me what you sent me, that was I just had it up too. Let me see here, so we can share this. I had to restart my computer earlier. So
you still
there we
have
go.
it?
I got it right here.
Okay.
I got it here. But that's Minnesota. But we was talking about Salt Lake. With what's going on out in Salt Lake, you had some bullpucky.
Yeah. We had somebody out. Somebody was out there in a hydrated slumber. Yeah. They stayed asleep a little bit too long. Got too carried away.
I'm just pulling this up here before we pull up that. 10,000 people? Is that the same thing?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's that. I'm just looking up. Oh, no Kings protest, march or wounded. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it was 10,000. Okay.
Oh, probably in attendance. I didn't get hurt.
Yeah, demonstrators. Okay, so let's pull that one up. Let's close this one out, and let's share the screen for this one. About this, share screen. Boom, boom, boom. No Kings protester. Okay, so you had the No Kings protest. Police chief says the victim was not pew-pewed by the suspect who was in jail. Okay, so 10,000 demonstrators marched against President Donald Trump in downtown Salt Lake City on Saturday evening. It's a peaceful protest. Then 3 pew-pew-pews went out at the end of the mile-long march, sent thousands scattering. Imagine that now. Somebody let the hammer off 3 times and 10,000 people. You know,
10 trampled.
Yeah, trampled. Yeah. One innocent bystander, 39-year-old Arthur Folasa Alu, never made it home, said Salt Lake City Police Chief Brian Redd at Sunday News. Another man, 24-year-old Arturo Gamboa, was later jailed on suspicion, but they're saying that this guy is not the one who fired.
Yeah.
So was it multiple shooters, I'm assuming, obviously?
I don't know.
In this case, if he's not the one but he was arrested. He hit Alu as he fired with up. Red said investigators believe Alu was killed by a man who was apparently part of the demonstration
peacekeeping team.
Okay.
I think he was firing at the pew-pewer and accidentally hit the other guy.
Right. Who Red said was running into the crowd of protests just before 8 p.m. with a rifle drawn.
And this can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
And this is what I'm interested in that article is that you see the peacekeeping team. Right. It's in quotations.
Yep.
I'm wondering why. Like it seems like it's unofficial.
I don't think it's like your boy Rittenberg. Is it Rittenhouse?
Okay, that's what like that because I was wondering why was it in quotes like that. So I'm like, it seems like it's like not officially Utah, Salt Lake City, PD, blah blah blah, peacekeeping team. That junk is in quotations.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm wondering if that's the case is because remember, oftentimes, and I'm a pro Second Amendment person. I'm always getting flyers from outdoor Atlanta, whatever, up the street. Mm-hmm. But I can still look at stuff objectively. And we always get the argument, oftentimes, is the only way to stop a bad guy with a pew-pew is a good guy with a pew-pew.
Yeah.
And I always wonder what happens when we do have the scenario where we got bad guy, good guy, pew-pewing with a bunch of people around. And now it looks like we got this. The bad guy's not the one that's hit.
Right.
When you got good guy, bad guy, pew-pewing, and it's people all over the place, like you say, scattered, ruthering, jumping, ducking. And now, the bad guy is not the one that got hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is what happens, and sometimes that's the first thing they're focused on. They're not just like cops. Cops aren't really focused when they're trying to take somebody down. They're not focused on collateral damage or who else gets hurt. They're trying to stop the threat. You know what I mean? And it happens a lot. So yeah, this is one of those, informal, which I don't know what the gun laws are like in Utah or whatever, but I guess you got some guys carrying or open carry, whatever have you.
Mhm.
Police initially detained the alleged shooter and another man. Both men were wearing the neon high visibility vest commonly worn by protest safety organizers. Wow.
Clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Rest in peace to the young man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like they
Yeah.
say, you never know what could happen. I'm not saying that you don't exercise your right to protest or whatever have you.
Mhm.
But you never know what's going to happen sometimes when you go out to these things, man. You know,
And really, to be honest, doubling up on what you're saying, you don't ever know. And really, your mindset to take it a little bit of a step forward. And I'm not like that my daughter sees this, but I'm gonna let her know this, personally. I'm saying, especially on the young end, because that's when a lot of things trigger us into activism. I want to get out with my post. You got to keep in mind that once you decide that you're going to do this, that you're really passionate enough about it.
Yeah.
That you're willing to say that I may not come home.
There you go.
Because that's real. That's real. I mean, and the thing about it, that is a part of your conviction as a protester, knowing that is the case. And that's not just here, that's anywhere. Because you think about it, other places, we're probably one of the freest protesting countries that there is, as far as the government's concerned. We as citizens are the ones you got to worry about when the protests start, not so much really the government here. And so, and I think I may have sent you it's another article that we saw when we were starting the show, that you see what happened right here. These people, they were clever enough to have what looked like organizer vests. If you don't mind doing the share screen, I just want to share this right quick.
Sure.
Since we're on the topic, do a little share screen here. Let's do this one. I had too many.
No, you're good. Switch out the music while you.
All right, I got it.
Yeah, I see it. I'm about to add it. I'm just changing this.
Oh, good. All right, and this article was from Friday, 2 days ago, before what you just read, the pew-pewing at Utah, right? What do we have? Far right extremists prepare violence for No Kings protests. Before I even get into the article, think about that. So we started the show, right, talking about the birthday extravaganza, regardless of how many people came or whatnot. It was the birthday extravaganza, right? And the Army's birthday as well, correct? There was a parade. Regardless of if the numbers were large, small, or whatever, there were people there in attendance, correct?
Right. Definitely.
Most of them were, if you assume they were there, they were pro-Trumpers, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
Have you seen any articles about any of them being pew-pewed at?
Nah.
How about run over with cars?
Nah.
All right, so, but the people that voiced their opinion of not wanting what appeared to be a king style situation or whatever, we see pew-pews on them, correct?
Correct.
I'm just trying to figure out, when do we get to the point of where we stop trying to act like this sort of behavior is on both sides? Yes, you'll get somebody on the left do something, but almost every time people on the left decide that they want to protest, the counter protests always show up with rifles. Why do they do that? Right. And why are the leftist protesters the one tagged with radical? What's more radical than pew-pewing at people because you don't agree with their opinion about something?
Right.
What's more radical than that? Especially when this is supposed to be the freest nation on the planet, the glowing city on the hill, where individuals are able to exercise their rights to protest and give their opinion. Why does one side always pew-pew at them? try to run over them with cars, because we had that this weekend too in Riverside.
Yep.
We also had Minnesota lawmakers pew-pewed and terminated Democratic lawmakers. And you have a call to action 48 hours earlier saying prepare for violence. And I'm not even going to read the whole article. I'm just going to read one line out of it. Pew a couple, the rest to go home, I promise.
Let's make an example. Yeah. Let's make an example.
So my thing is, though, but where's the outrage on that? And you know where I'm talking about. I'm talking about the foxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because this is remember running pew-pewing people and running them over. This isn't new. This happened last term.
Yep.
Charlottesville. We ran over somebody because
not
because they were threatening you, not because they were attacking you, but because they had a different opinion. Or maybe they were paid actors.
You never know, man. What was it? A Challenger, right?
Stop it, Trey. Stop it.
It was a Dodge Challenger, right?
People on both sides. Yeah. It was a.
Yeah.
Why you remember the make and model? Yeah.
I just remember seeing that. That's some things is in your mind. It's like the torches. The tiki.
Yeah, the torch. Yeah,
it can be in your mind. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. The khaki crew.
That is a trend in terms of that. But that term radical is thrown in there, just like civil rights back when people were marching peacefully and protesting peacefully and doing sit-ins. That's considered radical. Even though you getting your ass whipped.
You're like, I'm the one sitting here on the floor, getting clubbed upside the head. But in a way, it was radical because you were bucking the system.
Yeah.
So I guess it was radical until you think about it like that.
And I'm gonna throw out Brother Malcolm. He when they said it was controversial to defend yourself, in terms of self-defense, and they would ask him that. The news outlets would constantly ask him that, why are you being so controversial with this new stance you're taking, and why is it so radical? He was like, I don't see how it's controversial if someone's putting their hands on you to defend yourself. How is that controversial? You know what I mean? So I think that's one of those terms, as you said, you hit it on the head. Bucking the system or anything like that, that's other than what you should be doing, is considered outside of the norm. This is an anomaly. That robot that stepped aside and went back. You got the anomalies in the Matrix.
I did not murder him.
Yeah, exactly. Facts, man. But we got this one here, and we're gonna finish it out with this last one here that you sent me, which was this thing that happened over in Minnesota, right?
Minnesota. Oh yeah, they called him.
Let's go ahead and open that one up here.
We won't pull an Eric Rudolph today, sir. We won't look for you for 3 months.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and play this. We're a good buddy right here.
Good buddy.
Yeah, this is a 5-minute clip. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but let's get into it. I know we got I know it's gonna be a commercial or something going on, but let's.
Breaking news out of Minnesota, where Fox News can now confirm the gunman accused of shooting 2 state lawmakers and their spouses has been arrested. 57-year-old Vance Bolter is accused of assassinating Democratic Minnesota State Representative Melissa Horton and her husband, and severely injuring State Senator John Hoffman and his wife. Hoffman and his wife underwent surgery, and the lawmakers' homes were less than 10 miles apart. Investigators say early yesterday morning, Bolter, dressed like a police officer, came out of Hortman's home and fired at police before escaping. We're also learning police found a list of 70 names, including other lawmakers and abortion providers in Bolter's car. That car also allegedly looked like a police car. Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz is calling the shooting a, quote, act of targeted violence. And President Trump is promising persecution to the fullest extent of the law.
70 names.
A $50,000 reward for information leading to Bolter's arrest. Joining us now on the phone is former D.C. police detective and defense attorney, as well as a Fox News contributor, Ted Williams. Ted, we're just getting this information in the last 5 minutes or so. I want your take on what we're learning.
Well, what so far from what we know here, and this is all fluid at this time, but that there was a location where they found the automobile and they found what they believe was Bolter's cowboy hat, the cowboy hat that's in many of the pictures that he was seen wearing. And as a result of that, law enforcement made a concentration on that part of Minnesota. And it is my understanding, and from what we've been told, there have here been an arrest. I'm somewhat surprised because I thought that with all that we know about Bolter, and we know quite a bit now about him, that he very much was going to resist and probably go out with suicide by cop. But apparently that did not materialize. All indications are that he's under arrest. That's good. That's good for the citizens there in Minnesota. And clearly, this tells me that there was excellent law enforcement work. We also know that there was a $50,000 reward that had been put out by the FBI. And we know that at certain times, from the time that he was alleged to have shot the two, the Hoffman, and killed the Horstmans, that he's been on the run and that he had some contact with individuals. So I think what you're going to find here, and we should have, I'm sure, a press conference very soon.
Yeah, there's an 11:30.
What is taking place.
Yeah, we're expecting a news conference around 11:30, so in 45 minutes or so. So we should get more information then. Go ahead, Ted.
Well, again, as I said, and I'm very excited behind this because I was hoping that he could, if anything, be brought in without anybody being further injured, and specifically law enforcement officers that were pursuing him. And so as a result of good law enforcement work and possibly some help from citizens in the area, this man is now in custody where he certainly belongs.
You know, talk to me about the amount of time. It didn't seem like it took long, but the amount of time that it took the authorities to capture this man. And not only that, but that has to be incredibly dangerous for him to be dressed as a police officer and for them to kind of go about that in a safe manner.
Well, it is, but from what we know, and at one stage there, he was, when he was alleged to have committed these offenses, he was dressed as a law enforcement officer. But we saw other pictures later of him dressed in other civilian clothes and wearing a cowboy hat. And so those were the last actual photos that we had of Bolter in some portions of Minnesota there. But then there was a press conference late this afternoon here where Minnesota authorities let it be known that they had found a car that they believe was associated with Bolter, and they also found a cowboy hat in the vicinity of where the car was located. So law enforcement then decided that they would concentrate on that area, and as a result of that, there has now been an arrest.
Well,
bruh.
So, you know, good buddy.
I'm cracking up at Eminem. Eminem, like, the rewards get folks found quick.
Exactly.
It's 50K, baby. Exactly. There you go. They went mystical. There you go.
Exactly. Well, he appears to be a pro-lifer that did have a manifesto of 70 names on there of some lawmakers. You know, my man seemed to be pretty perturbed and disturbed. You know, and I know he did the right. You know, I'm not did the right thing, but he dressed up, came out. You know, came out blazing. And they still took him in alive. So.
He, as the article said 48 hours ago, he prepared for his violence.
There you go.
what's interesting in both of those, I know, Trey, man. I mean, a lot of us are, but a lot of us are still grounded. But the interesting thing is, my man didn't just have a plan. He had a plan that was executed that included a disguise.
There you go.
Dressed up like law enforcement. The two in Salt Lake City had a disguise, dressed up like actual protest organizers with the vest, with the yellow vest. My thing is, these people carried out what was put forth 48 hours prior to these things happening. They prepared to do what they went out and did. They didn't just show up and just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna randomly make some noise. No, they said, let's prepare. For anybody that disagrees with us this weekend, our God thing will go on without a hitch. Our God's thing will go on without a hitch. Matter of fact, we dare you to show up and protest there, because we got something for you if you do.
That's for you.
And then we're going to show up at your protests and we're going to pew pew and run you over. So it really, here's the thing though. How long before, because see, right now it's most reasonable people know when they try to do the Antifa equating, it's BS. Antifa always show up with freaking signs and looking stupid. They don't do anything these freaking cosplay militia guys do. They carry stuff out.
Yeah.
So why we keep trying to act like it's the same and like Trey pointed out, it's fine people on both sides, like everything's equal. It's freaking not, and we know it. Anybody that's paying attention that don't have fake news shades on know that it's not even. Yeah. One side is ridiculously aggressive and militarized, and the other one isn't. They protest by a different set of rules, which is actual protest with signs. We protest with bullets. And these are not my words, man. If you just, I mean, we just covered 3 or 4 freaking stories that I think we can agree is actual news. It came from Fox. I know we get mad at them sometimes, right? But still, paid actors again?
Paid actors.
Or maybe that was Antifa. This Bolton guy really is Antifa, and when he made up a pro-life manifesto. Because usually that's the other thing that happens. It really wasn't us. It was Antifa dressing up like us.
Yeah.
Remember, that's what Charlottesville was. It was Antifa. January 6th was Antifa. That wasn't us. That was Antifa.
What's up? What's up? Okay, give me a second. We're about to finish up right now.
I'm going to call you.
Yeah. I'm gonna call you. Yeah.
It's gonna come back.
Yeah, but no, for sure, man. There's definitely a track record when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, for sure. But moving on, because I know we're approaching an hour and a half here. We've been rapping here, man. I didn't even.
It was a field trip.
I know. I didn't even cover the forecast for Atlanta today, man. You know what I mean? So. For those of you in Atlanta and the surrounding areas, looks like it's currently 80 degrees, going to be a high of 85, partly cloudy all day. Maybe 30% chance of rain this evening at 9 p.m.
What else is new?
Yeah. So looks like overall it's going to be a beautiful day. Not too hot, fairly warm. For those of you in the low country of Charleston, it appears to be a beautiful cloudless day today. 85 degrees here as well. Feels like 92.
All right.
3 p.m., 30% chance of rain. It starts around 1 p.m. Clouds start rolling in. Then, intermittently between 3 and 10 tonight, 20% chance. But other than that, it's beautiful weather out there.
As we do everything backwards, right? So we also will give you a quick financial update. Since a lot of us may have known that most of the markets were down at close Friday due to the Israeli strike on Iran, which upset the markets. Some of you may be pleased to know that the S&P is up almost 0.75% as of 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So they appear to be rebounding after said strikes.
Gotcha.
So there's that.
Yeah. Appreciate
And
it.
we didn't even get into that whole thing and what that geopolitical mess is going to be looking like.
That's they out there on rooftops with popcorn, watching the incoming. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
stop!
Yeah, they got videos of those guys. Yeah, on rooftops, out in Tehran or whatever. So yeah, crazy times, man. You know what I mean? So but yeah, in other news, sports. We already talked to. We didn't really talk about it, but big three, man. I think that might be the next big thing, man. Hopefully, if they can expand, because it seems like that's like love and hip hop right now, bro. With all these guys, I think a lot of these pro athletes are gonna be, even though the pay isn't as good,
That's not the trade.
the endorsements and stuff probably gonna be coming in now.
Oh,
Like
that's a market that you can't discount that.
Yeah. So you see,
because as the league gains more popularity, more people are going to want to advertise, and therefore, like you say, offer endorsements.
absolutely. Lance Stevenson, I guess he had some issues going on there, some fighting. Steven Jackson, Stat 5. I didn't know he coached for the DMV. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I thought he was just doing his podcast and chilling, but he's actually coaching for the DMV.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so they, it's a lot of wild stuff going on there, man.
I'm like, I'm sorry, but the comments, I'm like, I didn't hear anything about no Antonio Brown. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get that, find out about that for Friday.
Yeah, he's being charged, man. And he's on the run. Supposedly he's antagonized.
I'll thank y'all guys. Friday, we'll have an update for in depth. That's my job. Friday.
And usual fashion, he's antagonizing law enforcement or whatever. From what I've heard, he's on the run right now. Game 5 tonight. Again for the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
We discussed that offline. That's tied up at this point. So we'll see who's going to take this Game 5. It's going to be interesting back and forth. But like I said, I think they're going to Game 7. So.
Right now it looks like it's 6 at a minimum.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So that's tonight, 8:30 p.m. for you guys that want Eastern Standard Time, for you guys that want to tune in, for sure. And
these 6 people that want to watch it.
Right.
It's not me saying it. NBA ratings is saying that.
Right. But other than that, man, in media, I know everybody's gearing up. They just released the last Superman trailer, so it'll be a month out now from the premiere of the new Superman movie. And, I don't think what else. As far as gaming, the Switch 2 came out, I think last week. So, I don't know what else is new in gaming or media, but that's pretty much all I got, man. What else you got?
Shoot, not much, man. Look like now I gotta get into this Antonio Brown joints before next Friday. Let's see if he get caught or what happens.
Exactly. And Lil Wayne released the Carter 6.
To kind of lackluster results, I believe, right?
Did you listen to any of the?
I haven't heard any about it. I just been seeing a lot of posts of being, and like it's been a disappointing release, so to speak.
Right. If you guys listening to it or watching the restream, let us know your thoughts below. I didn't get a chance to check it out myself. I probably will today sometime, to see what it is. I know his daughter tweeted or came to his defense, saying that my father's a lyricist. You guys are wanting something that you can do a TikTok dance to. He doesn't music for those who are trying to create a TikTok dance from his songs. He's a strict lyricist, so enjoy the music, something along those lines, is what she said. So,
Reginae, is that who said that?
Reginae Carter, yeah. So, man, that's all I got, man. I got a few appointments here, like I was telling you. I know these ladies probably finishing up in here. They've been here since like 8:30. Here it is 11. So yeah. Man, yeah, I gotta post, I gotta record. I'm all
wait.
Yeah, man. But it's been a great show, man.
Man, I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate everybody who tuned in, and who continues to show up, on both Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Shout out to JK Perkins again. Appreciate the $5 super chat. And with that being said, guys, we'll see you guys on Friday, God willing. You guys have a great week. It's going to be awesome. We're entering summer this week, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, in 5 days it'll be summertime. So hope you guys got some great plans. We got Six Flags and all this stuff coming up. I got to hit up Six Flags. I haven't been yet here in Atlanta. So, it's 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I got to if it's only 20 minutes away. Yeah, but it's been great, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Independent Mail channel and on all platforms as well. And we're going to see you guys soon, man. We're out of here.
Peace.